Drinking this album, listen to the brews. I think it would pair well, if only for you, 'cause it's album ReBrews.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to Album ReBrews, the stickiest music podcast. Let me put on my sociopath voice real quick. I have all the characteristics of a human being. Blood, flesh, skin, hair, but not a single clear, identifiable emotion except for greed and disgust. Something horrible is happening inside of me, and I don't know why. My nightly bloodlust has overflown into my days. I feel lethal, on the verge of frenzy. I think my mask of sanity is about to slip. My name is Sarah.
Feeling okay there? You feel all right there?
I love that.
I'm doing amazing.
That was incredible.
TGIF, girls.
I hope this episode doesn't fall on deaf ears. I mean, God's not going to listen to it. My name's Zach.
I'm Nate, everyone. I'm from the Guard the Bard podcast. You might have heard Peter and Jacob Patrick Pierce on there before. But I'm here today, and I want to thank you guys for rolling out the red carpet for me.
Yes.
I got to meet this new little cat. His name is Ponyo. He's a very nice little guy.
Yeah, we have our
There is
first
a
cat
cat
guest
here
star. I'm cat sitting right now for Lindsay, who has also been on an episode of Album ReBrews, my sister. So we have Ponyo. His full legal name is Ponyo Blake Shelton Bidash.
That's
a good name.
a lot.
Yeah. And he'll be hopefully quietly joining us in the stew. I also gave these two the disclaimer beforehand that this little man has a stinky behind. So if at any point during this episode you guys hear us go, "Oh, Ponyo!" it's because I think this cat has IBS.
Poor guy. You shouldn't have given him any of this whiskey.
Second disclaimer, the cat is already drunk.
Sorry, Lindsay, we got your cat drunk. Whoopsies.
So Nate, you are a guard in Guard the Bard.
I am the guard, not the bard.
You are the guard. Well, what's your character's name?
My character's name is Gravis Torque, inspired by the one and only Young Gravy, of course. I had my Twitter name as.
know that. That makes me so happy.
That's really good.
All of my D&D character names come from somewhere. This one being Gravy Davis.
Tony Melmo. It checks out.
Tony Melmo was a line in a YG song.
For sure.
And he said R.I.P. to Tony Melmo. I don't know who that is. But that was my first
character.
D&D druid who was tragically kidnapped and vanished from existence. I do not know where that man is. I could not
R.I.P.
tell
to
you.
Tony.
We could only
Let's
find his
pour one out real
Simulacrum,
quick.
right? Well, me and Nate were in a D&D campaign for a long time, and we've got
Beef is the word you're
they're
looking for.
they're crazy
Oh.
stories. It's funny that they're all just in our imagination, like us and 4 other people.
Seven other people?
yeah.
That was a huge
Jeez.
game.
Well,
That was a
why
huge
do you
game.
have beef?
Well, let me tell you a little story about the time that we went to an orphanage. And
This is
Zach,
all fantasy.
all fantasy.
Fantasy orphanage, not a real orphanage.
Fantasy orphanage, and Zach tried to fantasy assault a fantasy toddler.
There was an orphan, and he had information we needed to beat the evil vampire.
Were you interrogating this,
Yes.
waterboarding a
And I had my character is really high charisma, so he's good at intimidation. He
He was
plus,
not.
He
was
had plus
not very
4 in
good.
intimidation.
He was very bad.
Okay.
at it.
But I rolled so poorly, or no, I don't think it mattered how I rolled. There was a demon stuck inside this child.
The child turned into
Oh.
a demon.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So my intimidation didn't work. He was
Okay.
obviously not intimidated by me because he was a demon.
Regardless, he ran out of the room. I was stuck in the room with this demon child.
Oh.
And he got kidnapped, right?
Immediately
Into another-
knocked unconscious. Immediately teleported out of the room. Don't know where I went.
So Nate couldn't play for like 3 or 4 sessions because I got his character kidnapped by a demon orphan.
Oh, man.
But that did lead to the creation of one Trad Rotus, my paladin. We're going into the naming thing again.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
My friend Brennan. Everybody knows Brennan. I'm sure he'll be on here eventually.
Oh, certainly.
Yes, he plays every other character in Guard the Bard.
It's just Nate and Brennan.
I was curious
and
to see.
nobody else.
Well,
Brennan told me a story once about him and our other friend who would have movie nights, and they would get a rotisserie chicken, and it was just a regular rotisserie chicken. So
Sure.
the shortened version on the thing for traditional rotisserie was trad rotis, and I said, snatching that up,
That's
need that.
literally like a name. That's a name.
That's so good.
I swear to God, you go to like
Traditional
LA
rotisserie.
and you find some like granola influencer LA mom,
And
and she absolutely has named her kid Trad. She's like, I was hiking in Joshua Tree, and I just really was looking out at the stars and drinking my green juice, and I decided he was going to be named Trad.
And we had just gone to the Costco, and the traditional rotisserie chicken was $2.99, and I just knew I had to name him traditional rotisserie.
Oh, man.
Tradition runs deep in my bloodline.
I never got the chance to make that joke in the D&D game, but I always hoped that it would come up. That'd be like, "Yo, is Trad Rotis short for anything?" And I'd be like,
Traditional.
I'm so glad you asked.
That's canon now. It's in another podcast, so now it's canon in your podcast.
"We'll see what happens someday." We have not played that game in a long time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was going to say, is the beef still festering?
Here's an interesting secondary point about that game.
Yeah.
We finished our campaign. We beat the big evil vampire lord, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then half of our party got sent to the future, and half of our party got sent to the past.
Future sucks.
Past also kind of sucks. Though.
It all sucks.
So
I think our DM was just tired of DMing, and he was like, "You know what? I want to make all these these players hate the."
this is 8 people. 8 people DMing for 8 people.
That's
is
a lot.
It's like a part-time job. We should pay him.
I would have paid him. Riley Young, if you're listening,
Riley,
I
we
will
owe you money.
pay you to
Riley,
continue DMing. I missed my characters.
We owe you a podcast episode,
We
I think.
do.
I would love to hear him on the podcast.
Oh, he'd be so good. I've asked him. I don't know if he wants to.
I will admit as
fair.
well, I know we were talking earlier off podcast about my father, but I did tell him, we saw the Batman on Sunday,
Nice.
Oh my God.
and I did say, you should go on this podcast. I feel like you'd have a lot of interesting things to say.
Your
Can
father?
we please
We'll
have your
totally
dad?
get your dad.
I would
We've
love
never
that.
had a father-son duo on the pod. I think we
That
have
would
to.
be
It would be so.
fun.
And the first thing he said when I described it to him was "Songs in the Key of Life" by Stevie Wonder. So he's already ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's a great album. We've talked about that.
It's
I
so
just
good.
bought a Stevie Wonder record. It was it's a soundtrack though for the movie The Secret Life of Plants. So it's this entirely like it kind of gives like Mort Garson's Plantasia, but like not Mogi
Go.
because it's Stevie Wonder. It's really good. Anyway, I would love to talk to your father about Stevie Wonder on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be so great.
And he'll still meet and he'll be like, "Hey, I saw you at that Christmas party. You sucked shit at throwing rings on bottles."
Anyone who doesn't know my father, his name is Luke. He works at the Bottom Lounge here in Chicago. You might have
Shout
seen
out Bottom
him
Lounge.
checking IDs at the door. You might know him. He's a wonderful man. Just tell him hello next time you see him.
Say
Give him
hello to
give him
him.
$1.
Everyone go say hi to Luke.
Blow him an
Yeah.
air kiss.
Yeah.
Tell him Album Bruce sent you. He'll be like, "What?"
His 60th birthday is coming up this year. So
Ah,
Oh,
good for
shit.
him.
if you guys want to have a little Album Brews birthday party for him.
When is his birthday?
October 1st.
Okay.
October 1st.
Do you guys want to introduce the drink and the album right quick and then hop into this very related Dark Souls quiz?
I think we simply must.
I would absolutely love to personally.
Nate, please take this away.
Yeah.
This
Me-
is your baby.
Again,
Yeah.
this is going back again to Bottom Lounge.
Mm.
The year is
Yeah.
2018. My friend Sabrina, talented artist, I will show you the shoes in a moment, says we have this concert to go to for this band Polyphia. Polyphia fucks, first of all. I was so excited to see them. Never heard of this band, Hail the Sun. Don't know who these geeks are, these nerds.
Yeah.
But
The opener.
they were the second opener, and I heard, I believe it is the 8th track on this album, Mist Injections. And
Oh, that was the first one you heard.
I heard this man, he crooned to me, looked me in my eyes, fell in love immediately.
We were sold.
Dang.
Went home,
What a
listened
story.
to them.
Hook, line, and sinker.
And this is going to be that album. This is Wake by Hail the Sun today. And we are drinking a little Suntory Japanese whiskey in a highball
Oh,
today.
there's
Is
the
it
connection.
Suntory?
I didn't get that.
Hill the Sun Suntory, yes.
This is a great. I thought Nate just wanted to drink nice whiskey.
I thought we had already established that.
I didn't even get the play
No,
on
we're
words there.
dumb. The thing about Zach and I is we can't read between the lines.
We're like Anchorman.
I
I'll
think
read the
we're both
teleprompter.
very literal people.
But this is a fantastic whiskey. We did a shot of it off air.
It is
Um,
so
Yeah, we
smooth.
have already had a shot,
And
so
I've-
this one's...
And I've never had whiskey I wanted to just sip on. You know what I mean? Like you usually just want to down it.
And this is a 43%er. This is no joke.
Really easy. So we're doing, what's it called when you do the soda on it?
When you what?
Highball
A highball.
Highball, yes.
over ice.
And
You can hear the ice.
yeah,
It hears so nice.
we've also broken our rule because we've already had a shot. We've broken our rule of trying this on air,
I know.
which is
We
fine
can try it
because
again
it's so
on air.
good. Let me take a little.
I mean, I've been
sippy
trying
sippy.
it on air since the intro, so.
Well, they've been hearing the glass clink
Yeah.
for the past 10 minutes.
I've never once paid attention to that rule, I'll admit it. I thought you guys showed up already 30% in there.
Sometimes we do have a beer.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm very stressed after work, so I have a glass of wine before the podcast.
So I tried to find out because when I heard Hail the Sun, the first thing I thought of as a resident gamer was Praise the Sun from the Dark Souls franchise.
Of course,
Mm-hmm.
of course.
If you're familiar, there is Solaire, who is this NPC who's just beautifully praising the sun, as one does.
Zach and Nate have both raised their arms.
Oh, if they know about Dark Souls, they
know
already
exactly
know
what we
we
Here's
did
the
that.
thing: is I know so little about Dark Souls beyond like watching the McElroy Monster Factory videos.
Oh, that's
They've
that's
done
an
Dark-
important
they've done
aspect.
multiple
They've
Dark
Yeah,
done
Souls.
that's an
multiple Dark
important
Souls,
aspect of the
so
Dark Souls
I know
lore.
that it's like this like open world kind of ye oldie fantasy RPG, but I know very little about the lore.
Yeah, all the lore in the game, there's like very little cutscenes, so all the lore is in item descriptions
Oh,
and in like a little bit of dialogue with NPCs. So I don't actually. Do you know any more lore about Solaire?
Not about Solaire, I will admit, the main Souls game that I have played.
Oh,
Don't know if you noticed this tattoo over here. This is
Uh-huh.
this is a Bloodborne tattoo right here.
it's a very
Sir.
good Souls game.
I noticed it, but I didn't know what it meant.
This is a carol rune that means moon.
Ooh,
Hence, and then the extra moon at the top here.
that is a moon.
Is that a summoning signal or is that a spell signal?
That is just gets you more souls, more runes on killing
Hell
stuff.
yeah! So that's a tap for abundance.
Abundance,
Exactly.
more souls.
Yeah.
What are they called in Bloodborne? Are they still called souls?
They're called blood echoes.
Blood echoes.
Ooh.
That's such a silly word for it.
I love video
It's a lot better than
games.
shards or whatever the fuck it is in Elden Ring.
Runes?
Runes, yeah. Why does someone have a rune inside them when you kill them? Anyhow, so this is hardly related
Not
to
at
the
all.
band, but I've been playing so much Elden Ring, I wanted to run through this little Dark Souls quiz with you guys.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm in.
Like I said, I've put hundreds of hours into Bloodborne. None of the other ones.
Really? What sunk you into Bloodborne?
I lived with Andy, and Andy was playing it.
Uh-huh.
Andy Heck.
Yeah.
And
Andy is another character at Guard the Bard, and he loves the Souls games.
Yes, he does.
He's so into it.
And that was exclusively it. Is he was just playing Bloodborne at the time, and I watched him in our living room, and I said, "I'm gonna play this sometime." And he said, "Yeah." And then 250 hours later,
That's all it takes sometimes.
you know,
Yeah, I absolutely know.
I platinumed that game. I went through every dungeon. I went through every tower, and you know, it was
So you might not know any of these answers then if you never played Souls 1, 2, or 3.
well,
Then we're on an equal playing field because I don't know shit about Dark Souls.
This is your album or barbs.
That is so fair.
this is how I feel when you make me play album or barbs.
Good. Okay.
I
love it.
I can't lie to you though. I'm not going to sit here and act like I have zero knowledge because as the #1 gamer on Guard the Bard,
Of course.
a title that I will claim forever that they cannot take away from me no
Okay.
matter how hard they try.
Well,
I
Sarah
got a lot.
better
There's,
not be ya.
there's a lot going on up here. There's just a lot of knowledge, so you know I know some stuff.
So are we on a team for this quiz or are we mortal enemies?
I think you're mortal enemies.
Fair. Let's go.
It's beef all around this podcast.
All right.
I'm a vegetarian and I ain't
it is
fucking scared of
ABCD,
them.
so you guys do have, 25%
odds.
guess chance.
Okay.
All right. Oh, there's a Solaire question. Okay. Havel is known for his incredible strength. If you dispatch him, you get a ring that allows you to carry 50% more of your total carry weight. What is this ring called?
Mm-hmm. What are the options?
Oh, that's a dumb question. Hold on.
No, it's not a dumb question.
I imagine that we would get provided the answers.
Hold on. I'm gonna clean take that because I read when you answer it gives you information. That wasn't the question. That was the information for answering. Because A, B, and C, D are Havel's armor, Havel's ring. So I done goofed. We're skipping that one. You guys both get 1 point for that.
Damn
Havel's
it.
ring.
Excellent.
What is Solaire looking for throughout the game? His family, some time off, a specific weapon, his own personal son, spelled S-U-N. I don't even know this one.
I'm going to go with his own personal weapon.
I
A specific-
think because soul is it S-O-L?
That is how his name is spelled. Yeah.
Solaire is Solaire, which is, I think, a play on words for like solar, like the solar system.
Or like
And our star is Sol.
well, soul in Spanish is also sun.
That feels too obvious, though.
So no, I'm fine with being obvious. I think he's looking for his own personal son.
All right, so you've got D. What do you think, Nate?
I said C, his a weapon.
His own personal son.
There it is.
Solaire is a warrior of sunlight, can be summoned throughout the game.
I want to
it-
thank Senora Tucknott, my AP Spanish teacher. My girl.
God, that must be nice. Imagine having a Spanish teacher who actually taught you things in high school.
True or false? Once you leave the undead asylum, you can never return.
True.
Well, once you leave the is that like where you spawn when you start the game? Can I ask follow-up questions?
I think so.
Be interesting if I feel like he doesn't have the answer either.
Oh.
I don't remember if you start in the undead asylum or that's just the first area.
I'm going to be a contrarian. I'll say false.
And you said true, Nate?
I did say true.
It is false.
What?
Oh, yeah, you can get back to the crow's nest, which is where you drop the shiny stones and the crow brings you special weapons.
Of course.
Gotta have my bird.
Gotta have my bird.
Can we talk about Dark Souls more often on this podcast?
I'm learning as we go.
The lore is incredible in these games.
Good.
There's so much crazy stuff.
Oh, God, this next question makes me mad because it's about Sen's Fortress. Which sorcerer is trapped in the cage hanging in Sen's Fortress?
Sans, like Undertale?
Sen's Fortress
Oh.
is S-E-N apostrophe S. I don't know if you ever meet Sen, but his fortress sucks.
Yeah, fuck Sen. What are the options?
Griggs of Vanheim, Big Hat Logan, Oswald of Karim, Sigemeyer of Katarina.
It's Sigemeyer.
What was C?
Oswald of Karim.
I felt inclined towards Oswald of Kareem. I'm gonna go for that
I've
one.
heard those names before. I know that they're in some game.
It is I thought it. Oh, okay, here we go. The correct answer is Big Hat Logan. It's Big Hat Logan.
Big Hat Logan!
He's got a big giant hat and he sells you so many spells.
I would expect him to sell me nothing but hats.
Let me get a 10-gallon.
I think that's why I enjoy Bloodborne so much, is so much of that game was, like there's stats involved with but there's so much fashion involved.
Oh,
I
that's-
love
I
that.
never
The
look at the
top
stats
hat.
when I pick my armor. I'm like, what looks the coolest?
Top hat,
No,
the cape
absolutely.
pro.
All right, here we go.
Does my sword glow? Like, come on.
Who is the NPC non-playable character you can summon in the catacombs to help fight Pinwheel?
Can I make a guess before I hear any of the answers?
Yeah.
I think it's Rattlin' Bones Jones. The skeleton.
You're so smart. How'd you know about Rattle and Bones Jones?
Just a gut feeling. I've been doing so well at this quiz so far.
All right.
Just going pure off instinct at this point.
the options are negative A, Rattle and Bones Jones, real A, Solaire, B, Knight Kirk, 3, Paladin Leroy, or D, Lutrick.
I feel like it's Paladin Leroy. That sounds like an NPC name.
So does Lutra. These are all NPCs.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet.
Solaire is an NPC.
We just
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah,
Solaire.
we just talked about Solaire.
He was in
Praised
question
the
one.
sun. He's why we're playing the game.
But if he's why we're playing the game, why? Oh, non-playable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would play with Solaire if I could.
We are not
He's a
Solaire.
chiller.
I think it's
We are not
Lutric.
Solar. I think it's the Paladin.
I don't actually know this one. It is Paladin Leroy.
You're fucking
This is
kidding me.
It makes sense.
You're fucking kidding me.
Did you get it?
I'm getting demolished right now.
I've got. Can I just say, I'm purely going with my gut here, and I feel like I need to buy a lottery ticket.
All right, I'm gonna keep this going because I just like saying these Dark Soul names, and if Sarah getting them right makes me happy.
I need to say so explicitly, I don't know anything about the Dark Souls franchise. I'm just guessing.
All right, we'll do one more. Let's
right.
find a good name.
Redemption for me.
Let's talk about bosses. That's one of the best
For
things
sure.
about bosses, or about the game's bosses. Who's the only boss in the game that is also a summonable character in a different boss battle?
Summonable, like to help you?
So the other, you can like summon those NPCs we were talking about, like Solaire and Paladin Leroy.
Cool.
But you can apparently summon one of these bosses to help you fight another boss. Is it Ornstein the Smo? Is it the Gaping Dragon? Is it the Great Wolf Sif? Or is it the Taurus Demon?
It's Ornstein.
I feel like it's the demon. I want a demon on my side.
There's something you can do with Sif. I'm gonna say Great Wolf Sif.
I think it's the demon.
Sif is a giant wolf, but he looks like a husky, and he's also got a giant
got a big
sword in
sword.
his mouth.
That's
He's
cool.
really hard to kill.
But I remember there being a sad thing where like you could. He's like, I don't want to fight you, but you gotta fight him.
I mean, he's pretty cute. He's like the cutest Dark Souls boss
Yeah.
because he looks like a husky.
Well, now that I'm not going to change my answer. I'm not going to, as much as I want a husky by my side, I'm still going to say the demon.
It is Great Wolf Sif.
Yeah.
Finally got one. Finally
It's
at
actually
the end.
Great Wolf Lodge.
It's in the DLC. That's why I've never summoned him.
That's what it is.
Thank you for playing Praise the Sun or Hail the Sun. I don't know what to call this game.
That would have been a great somehow line those up. Is this a Hail the Sun lyric or is this a
Oh, is this a Dark Souls comment?
is this a Dark Soul NPC
Dialogue.
or is this a Dark Souls NPC or is this a Hail the Sun band member?
Oh man, that would have been so good. I wish I thought of that.
Zach, how transparent do you want to be with our planning process?
And just scrap that and make a new game real fast.
Cut that section. Nobody needs to know.
No, we can't cut it. 'Cause
Nate just has to get in the Two Timers Club, and now we know
Exactly.
what games to play with him.
Exactly. It's so early to do this, but I already need to pee.
That's
Can we
fine.
do that?
Let's do
You're
that.
valid.
This
Yeah.
feels like a. Oh, thank you.
You're opening the floodgates.
Welcome back, folks. I am about 8 ounces lighter than I was when I left this chair. And we've realized that we haven't really talked about the band very much. So, Nate, would you tell us a little bit more about the artist we're talking about today?
Yes, today we are listening to Hail the Sun. They are a post-hardcore band from California. I don't know what that means.
Post-hardcore?
Post-hardcore doesn't mean anything to me.
It's right after regular hardcore.
I was going to
But-
say, I feel like when people say post, it just means like a fucked up version of what the thing is. You know, when people are like postmodernism or
Or
like,
like post-punk, I could think of like...
yeah, it's just like,
It's not
like,
OG punk, it's just like what happened right after punk.
it's like that, but like, yeah, scrambled eggs.
And you know what? It's working out perfectly for me.
Yeah.
I love what they're doing. Keep up the good work. But yeah, there is 4 members in the band. There is Donovan Malero, who is the lead singer and also the drummer.
Can we talk about how good of a name Donovan Romero is?
Malero.
Malero. I was saying to Zach, Nate, before you got here, that Donovan Malero sounds like a vampire name.
But he's also in the Italian mob.
But they are all very cute. I will say that.
Aw.
There is Shane and Eric, their guitarists, and their bass singer John. Long hair, cute little mustaches on some of them.
Serve.
Great looking band. Love them.
Nice.
Yes, this is their 3rd album we are listening to today. This is Wake. They have released their first album, Pow, Right in the Kisser, and Elephantitis before this.
For
How
sure.
Right in the Kisser is the name of their first album.
That is what it is.
That is a far reach from Wake.
I was gonna say that's like some Green Day bullshit. Like,
And it's such a spectrum, too. It's Pow, Right in the Kisser. It's Elephantitis.
Mhm.
It's Wake, Culture Scars, Secret Wars EP,
Huh.
Mental Knife, and new age filth.
Metal knife. Elephantitis is a real disease. Have you guys seen pictures of it?
I have.
No.
It's very horrifying.
It's pretty bad. It's exactly what it sounds like. We went to high school together. Can you tell?
Ooh, that Dixon just came out of me right there.
For sure.
That's never happened on the podcast. That's very funny.
That whiskey got me locked in right
I
now.
know, we are on a
We're
level.
in the zone.
Imagine any part of the human body,
Right.
but
But like elephantized.
yes,
Yeah.
very big, swollen, excessively. It is very
Wrinkly,
unpleasant.
like an elephant nose. It's
Like
not a good thing to have. But it
yeah.
makes sense for them to name an album about it.
Yeah.
It checks out.
Yeah, I think this is the part of the podcast where I verbally issue a trigger warning.
Yes.
Because holy shit, this album covers a lot of dark stuff. So very quickly, if you are a sensitive person to any of the following topics, proceed with caution. Or if this isn't the episode for you, that's totally fine.
Go back to the Dark Souls stuff, listen to it twice, and that's kind of the same as the whole episode.
We are going to be talking about serial killers, police brutality, real life crimes, death, religious trauma, suicide, anxiety, grisly deaths, drug use, witch trials, a bunch of other things. So I'm just saying, like, the content of this album is pretty intense, and if it's not your vibe, that's totally fine. We still love you. Mwah. That being said, I think we should get into the first song.
Yeah.
And just as a one last note before we get into this, if this is too much for you, and leave a comment on whatever platform you listen to this on, and let them know that you'd rather listen to the Pokemon Cypher 2019 analysis.
Which was Nate's second pick.
That was the backup. If you guys want to hear some Pokemon rap bars, we can go over that just fine.
Do that too.
We can get Nate into the Two Timers Club.
Yeah.
I always joke that, like, getting into the Two Timers Club means you get a leather jacket. Like a Letterman, like, leather, nice jacket.
We'll give you a button.
Or a sticker.
Or a sticker. I forgot them.
Oh, I'm so excited.
We got new shiny stickers now.
Yeah.
I will admit, for all the listeners at home who cannot currently see me, if I was to get a jacket, I would ask for a Hail the Sun jacket, because I did show up. Hail the Sun joggers, Hail the Sun t-shirt, Hail the Sun hoodie.
It's such a
Decked
good hoodie.
Out.
I'm impressed by the joggers. That's some merch commitment
That's a
on the
nice
band. They're
merch
like, hey,
item.
I think our fans would like joggers.
They definitely. I'm almost 100% sure they had socks. I know they released masks at the beginning of 2020.
Makes sense, yeah. Uh-huh.
They had the full collection. I should have done it.
We're
I
decked
should have
out.
done it.
Yes. They rolled out the red carpet for their merch stand.
See,
This
that's.
album made me feel like a celebrity.
I got him. I already made that joke.
Is that what it feels like to be a celebrity? Probably, right? It's probably terrifying.
I hope it doesn't feel like this song.
So if you remember from like 20 minutes ago, I did a weird monologue. That is a quote from Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, who, this is not a spoiler, is a psychopathic serial killer. And
That's what that was. I was gonna ask.
yeah, it's Patrick Bateman. I thought about for a second doing the quote where he is like looking at his coworker's business card and he's like, oh my God, it even has a monogram. He's like visibly sweating. But I decided to go a little gnarlier because this is a pretty gnarly album. But this was a fucking interesting way to open an album. Like have this song kind of from a killer, like someone who's addicted to killing people.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's brutal, and I love that.
It's
though.
brutal
Literally-
and practical.
Honestly, yes. The song title is Rolling Out the Red Carpet.
Oh, because his carpet's red from the blood.
Exactly. So what better way? He says
Or
that.
it's a red
Yeah.
carpet, so if there is blood on it,
You're
It's
good.
hidden.
It's
the
already
lyric,
red.
You're in
owning
the
a red
clear.
carpet puts me at ease.
yeah.
Ah.
You don't have to worry about stains as much. You don't have to worry about, if you came in here, random red stains in this room,
Suspicious.
but I've already got a red carpet. It's nothing to be worried about.
And there's another line later about like bleaching the bathtub.
Yeah.
Again, pretty grisly.
Also puts him at ease. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done what we've done, and now we're taking care of it.
Oof.
But yes, this is definitely just a wild opener to this album. But there is a lot of, like we said, there's a lot of death on this album.
Yeah.
It is an album called Wake. The album art is 3 little guys standing over an alien in a casket.
Like being at a wake, right?
Yeah.
Is that what that's called?
3 plague doctors, standing over an alien in a casket.
Should we play a little bit of the first, like just the intro of the first track?
Yes, please. It's
I
so
feel like we
spooky.
got to set a
It's
vibe.
so
Yeah.
haunting, and it reminds me, for whatever reason, it makes me think of 28 Days Later, and it's like, a panning shot of a city overrun, and then we're doing murder all of a sudden. We're
Okay,
doing-
picture that in your mind.
The
What an
dissonance in there.
unassuming. Okay, I said this off air, but welcome to Sarah hearing like 2 seconds of something and immediately thinking of something else. The little children.
Yeah.
Something about the little children that they used in this intro sounds exactly like the little children in this intro. I think many people at home will recognize this.
Two totally different vibes.
Absolute vibe.
Completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But like the timbre of the children was the
kids,
same.
equally
Or maybe
creepy.
that's just what kids sound
Kids
like.
just sound the same.
when
I think.
they're just on the playground having a great time, you're gonna hear it.
And we're gonna sing about murder.
And this personally is such a short song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you cover this set of lyrics of I fantasize about open wounds,
Mm-hmm.
allotting time just to dream them through. Rage is the itch I'm not scratching. I guess I'm overreacting, but owning a red carpet puts me at ease. Like this this is problems. This is
Not.
you're admitting
It's
it.
not good.
No. Oh God. But it's like I said, I just had that picture in my head the first time I listened to this album, and I just saw like you're just spanning in, and there's just an empty city,
Yeah.
and you just come into this guy's apartment now, and he's just looking out, and now there's children playing. Is he gonna murder the children? I don't know.
Who
might.
fucking knows?
He
He,
might.
has a red carpet.
And he's already got the bleach for the bathtub.
This is one of those albums that made me go a little bit like, because I feel like we cover a lot of albums where the lyrics come from a very personal place.
Yeah.
So it took me a second
Oh.
to be like,
where is?
I don't think this band is made up of serial killers.
No.
I think this may be a little more poetic.
And that's what's interesting is you do get into that a little later. There's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of personal stuff
Yeah.
on here.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like Edgar Allan Poe and all
Yeah.
the awful, sad stuff he wrote about.
Yeah.
I don't forget where I was going to go at that point. I digress. Some of his lyricism reminded me of his poems.
You heard it here first. Edgar Allan Poe was a serial killer.
Dude, he might have been. No, everyone around him died. Which is the serial killing without doing
Coincidence?
anything.
I-
He was
Yeah.
he was a what's the word I'm looking for?
Like serial killer by proxy.
His best friend was a serial killer, and he was like, "This is really weird that all this is
It
happening."
was really low effort serial
He
killing.
goes to the one friend who's not dead
That's-
yet. He's like,
that's
can
an
you
awful-
believe this?
This is crazy.
That's an awful joke. He was so sad. He wrote poems about all those deaths. I'm gonna transition into a really neat point I wanted to mention about musicality on this one.
Yes, please.
This whole album is so interesting, the musicality in it, And one of the things I love about it is the use of 6/8. Are you guys really familiar with timing?
Like time signatures?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moderately.
I would say moderately.
So I was thinking about this one in the car. So like think of 4/4, which is like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and how you bob your head to that.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna do it real fast. Listeners, you're gonna bob your head too. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But 6/8 divides it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's kind of waltzy.
So you want it waltzy, yeah. So you bob your head on the 1 and the 4 kinda, which
1,
gives
2,
you enough time to kind of do a circle with your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There you go. Okay.
So this song opens in 6/8, and there's so much 6/8 throughout the album, which is just a really neat musical choice. I think it pays off.
Yeah.
There comes that math rock again.
Because all the heavy stuff, you're just like bobbing your head real slow in a circle. And it's like, yes, get it in me.
And that is one of the best parts about going to shows
Yeah.
for stuff like this is you'll look around and you'll see 10 different people like just rocking to 10 different parts of the song and everybody's correct.
Yeah, there's no one's wrong.
When I go to hip hop shows and I'm not gonna lie, I look around, I see some people wrong. Bad. Off tempo, just unfortunate. I get it. You've had a couple vodka Red Bulls. You're up, you're down. You don't know what's going on. But here, like, they might be on the drums, the guitar, the bass, the second guitar, the vocals. Like, there's just so much, and it's so good to watch.
Beautiful.
Amazing live performance, by the way.
So let's talk about the next song.
Oh no.
Human Target. Fucking
same themes. Same themes as the first one. 2014.
2014. I mean, it's fucked up that this is still so relevant. I might even argue like more relevant today just because of the visibility aspect of it.
It's been an eventful few years here.
It's been an eventful
Yes, since
few
2014.
years.
Yeah.
That was more than a minute ago.
Yeah. But human target practice, first of all cops are bastards. Second of all,
Say it with your chest.
yeah, this song is a reflection of that. Kind of talking a lot about the corrupt and violent police force that exists in X amount of places across the states and across the world that takes advantage of their power to inflict harm on people who don't deserve it. Period.
I will say, the last time I saw them in concert, I think this was the last song that they played. Here in Chicago specifically, they were like, we know you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like getting on the blue line today. I had to go downtown and I was getting on the blue line and I saw an ad for like join like the Chicago PD. It starts with you. And I was like, bitch, it's gonna end with me,
blue
you
line?
motherfuckers. Yeah, right.
Out of here.
They showed that ad in
Red
Lincoln
line,
Square.
maybe.
Brown line, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how really bold of them to address such a topic. Not bold in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean,
They are not shy about anything.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say on a lot of their...
To their credit.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've already covered the topics on this album.
Mm-hmm.
There's no shortage of that on all of their other projects. I will say the last song on their newest album is called Punch Drunk.
Mm.
And it is very specifically from the viewpoint of one of the... I don't remember where it's from. I should have looked this up, but it's the Poisoned Kool-Aid.
Oh, the Colts.
The Cult. Some of the lyrics are like, drink it down, don't wait.
Jonestown, yes.
Jonestown.
Yes.
And it's encourage the others, force the children if you have to, but like, you can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
We're all doing this right now. Like, they have never shied away, and I love that for them.
Yeah. I
One of-
give them credit for doing that in 2014
And
Yeah.
and continuing to do so.
respect.
Yeah. Very much so.
But that is one of the things I love about this song specifically is there is kind of this back and forth. There's two different narratives because the opening of the song, if you cover up, shoot to kill, make sure that no one is looking from the police perspective. And then there's the other perspective of the onlookers that are, horrified, that are like, we can't believe this is happening. And why would we live like this? And it's just this fascinating dichotomy that they establish through these vocal effects.
Yeah, I think it's really important for creative people to address things like this in an artistic way. Like the first that comes to mind is like the Rage Against the Machine anti-cop song, right? Some of those who burn crosses are the same. What's the lyric?
Some of those who work forces,
Are the same that burn crosses.
or some semblance of that. Yes.
Yeah.
T.
So glad that they are talking about it.
I also like that they said swine abuse.
Public servant swine abuse. Temperamental sadists with a badge disguise is one of the hardest bars.
Yes!
And
it's hard fucking bars.
and it's unfortunate because you do see it so often.
Yes.
You see so many videos of just like cops that don't know how to do their fucking job. And so they're just like, I'm gonna be mad at this person for no fucking reason.
They have a badge and a gun, so they're like, I'm the big guy and I'm right.
It's incredible.
And that's one way to put it. I also like the line, karma works too slow.
Because that is part of
no.
this. That is part of the song is this perspective of someone who is counter torturing a police officer. Let's peel their nails back. You know, like that is how a lot of people feel, I imagine.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, Nate from Guard the Bard is the problematic one. I have a lot of some would say problematic views. My mother would say problematic views, but she's never going to listen to this because she doesn't support anything that I do.
Are the guards of the Bard policemen?
That is actually an interesting little hot take about Guard the Bard. One, Andrew...
All guards are bastards.
One Andrew Matson Hack was a police officer for maybe a year. And it's funny because we didn't shit on him because he became a police officer, but we did shit on him. We did shit on him a little bit because he became a police officer.
Yeah.
But I do specifically remember that we had our friends giving, and he would not let us one person put on his bulletproof vest and have another person shoot that person.
That seems fair. Seems like you shouldn't do that.
It was the smart thing to do. We were all drunk, but I think it would have been fun still.
That is so that is like,
These
Sorry to air you out like this, Andy, but
these guys are some real D&D players, man.
I was gonna say that's some like jackass nonsense. Hey bro, you have a fucking you got a bulletproof vest. Let's take it out.
we had all the gear
Test
right
this shit
there.
out.
Come on.
Can we talk about I want to talk about the vocal production in this song and how it really brings out some of the really intense vocals at 2:40.
Yeah.
And then goes into our first guitar solo of the album.
Let's
We haven't had an album with a guitar solo in so long. I was so jazzed about it.
And once again, I do want to say their lead singer is their drummer.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't
on
know.
album productions, he will do all of that. When they're on tour, they usually have a drummer, but he definitely does hop on drums and sing at the same time for some of these songs.
Nice.
I bet he gets
Remarkable.
so sweaty.
He's so sweaty.
Bet he gets. That was your first thought.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of cardio and then like breath
Full
control.
breath. Yeah.
Yeah, are you kidding?
The drum, that tippity tap drum at the end of rolling out the red carpet into human target practice. I love a
Choice.
lot of these transitions that they
Choice.
do from song to song.
I love a transition that makes sense.
It's so good.
Yeah. I want to mosh to this. Let's go see them next time they're in.
I will take you. In 2018, I went to this concert with my friend Sabrina. It was a Polyphia concert. That's who she went for. I discovered Hail the Sun. Was so happy. Second time I saw them, it was a Dance Gavin Dance. It was a 5-man
talk about them.
show. Dance Gavin Dance, Don Bracco, Hail the Sun. I don't remember the other two bands. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Opener.
But they were all so good.
Yeah.
But I discovered them again, got to see them again. Third time, I was so upset because I work nights, and it was a night I had to work, and I tried to get it off, couldn't get it off. And I had to leave halfway through their set. Hurtful.
Sad.
If I was who I am
Oh,
now,
man.
a year and a
We
half
can
ago,
cut that.
I would.
They don't have to hear you say that.
No, the people deserve to know this. I'm not going to lie to the people. That's not who I am.
No.
But I had to leave halfway through the show. But that day, I did get to see Donovan Malero.
Oh, nice.
When one of the openers was playing, he walked over to their merch table and then walked through, and I just threw him a fist bump, and that was pretty rad.
That feels
Hell
pretty
yeah.
And the last time was at Bottom Lounge again, and I did just get to see them when they were on their own tour, and I was so happy about that. They're just so good. I forgot the point that I was even. I forgot where I was at the start of this.
Point made.
Just that we're gonna go.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I tried to take. I bought an extra ticket to the most recent show, and none of my friends were available. When I lived with Brennan, he wouldn't go with me because he didn't fuck with them back then.
Sometimes you just need. I've been looking for a show buddy to just be like, hey, even if the band you like, I don't know, I'll go with you. And if you don't like the band I like, you'll go with me. And it's just mutually we're just show buddies now.
Sounds like we're onto something right here.
It does.
We should create an app for it.
Show buddy.
Show buddies, TM.
That's cute.
I've got an extra ticket. Who wants to go?
No one wants to go to the show by themselves.
that.
Patent pending. Don't even try it.
Patent pending.
Don't even fucking think about it.
I've got an interesting point about this next one.
Yes,
This
please.
black serotonin.
We get our first real crime.
Here we go.
Or not even crime, but first
She didn't do
criminal case,
Yes.
I guess. Listen, I have a pink couch and a bunch of tchotchkes and prints with silly illustrations all over my apartment. But one of my favorite YouTube channels is JCS Criminal Psychology.
Ooh.
And one of my favorite TV shows is Criminal Minds. I get the fuck it. I don't listen to crime podcasts. I'm not one of those girlies.
Except for our own crime podcast.
This is basically a crime podcast at this point.
It's a crime for how good these albums are.
But I was fascinated to see the number of true crime mentions on this album. I think I think the extra interesting part about that is all the crimes mentioned on this album involve women.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it's
So
a
this is
really
the first one.
emotionally charged area of society to pull from, right?
Yeah.
For your artistic endeavors. But I didn't realize they were all women.
And
Huh.
there are just two, right?
On this album, yeah.
Yeah,
Just two.
on this album. And both of them were really public.
Yeah.
Really, 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 really public.
And this is an interesting one too, because we're going to get into it in a second, but just thinking about it, something like this happening would be so. I have a thought, and I'm going to say it after we cover what we're doing, because it's problematic. Nobody's going to like what I have to say, but whatever.
We'll get into it. So the song is called Black Serotonin. I'm curious why it's called that.
The only time it's mentioned in the song, it's black serotonin aimed at those with blue eyes.
Yeah, that is an interesting lyric.
So
Does Amanda Knox have... I have blue eyes. Does Amanda Knox have blue eyes?
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's cover the
This
basics.
song is about Amanda Knox. For those of you listening along at home who do not know who Amanda Knox is, she was a study abroad. She's still alive. I shouldn't say she was.
Oh.
At the time, she was studying abroad in Italy, and her roommate, when she was studying abroad, was pretty brutally murdered. And while she was still in Italy, she was accused and prosecuted and jailed, I think, for a while for the murder of her roommate, which she did not do. So this happened in 2007 and ended up being an 8-year ordeal of imprisonment and legal battles. And this was all excruciatingly public. She ended up coming out with a documentary, just kind of airing her side of things and how, I mean, we are the media, so I'm not going to be the media twists everything. But in this
We're
case...
the media? Dude, we're doing such a bad job right now.
But in this case specifically, people just kind of like had it in their hearts. The media kind of had it in their hearts that she did it.
Yeah.
And they took kind of every like weird nuance of her behavior and were like, that's a sign that she did it, is because she's like freaking out because she saw her roommate's, trigger warning,
Or
bloody body.
she was like really disconnected. So they're like, that's serial killer. But it's like she just experienced something traumatic and she zoned out.
Like traumatic, and also being overseas, away from your home.
Yeah.
You might
don't
not
have
even
any
speak the
support
language
system.
that well.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know that they think you did it.
Also,
Yeah.
how much do you really like your roommates?
I'm not going to talk about that on air. Like,
I will talk about it.
alone.
I will talk about it on air because we just had to kick a roommate out because she didn't pay rent for a month and we had to cover, and so she got kicked out of the
That's rough,
apartment.
yeah.
So we got again. I'm bringing beef to your podcast.
It's not like her own grandmother died. It's her roommate.
Yes,
Right. Her roommate, who like she hadn't been in Italy that long before this
So
happened.
she's not
if I
gonna
remember
be
right.
dismantled. Like, it's still traumatic and rough. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
And another weird detail about this is like this guy that she had been seeing for like less than a week, I think, also got roped into this. And the two of them like were kind of signed. It's like, hi, you're my this isn't like how it happened, but it was like, hi, you're my Tinder date. 5 days later, hey, you're my Tinder date, and we're in a murder trial together. Like that was the situation.
intense.
And it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
and that is everything that they talk about in this song.
Yeah.
Is the start of the song all the way at the top. Boom, they're watching like they know her. Foreign nightmare never over because she's overseas. Judging by their eyes, they've made up their mind.
It's a good line.
Like, I would hate to feel like that. Is that
Yeah.
I'm overseas. I know I didn't do this because that's another honesty wasn't feared by justice. But in this instance, she's telling the truth. If she didn't do it, she didn't do it. And she's telling them that. But they're all saying, we know you did this. We know you're guilty. And this is
Italian.
in Italian. And this is where my hot take comes in. It's a hot one.
It's a safe space.
And this
Let's
is
see.
another problematic Nate from Guard the Bard opinion.
We're not live. We
If
can
you-
change it.
If
after
you
we say it.
accuse me of murder in Italy and I didn't do it and I have to go to jail, if I ever get out, I'm killing someone immediately. If you're going to assume I did the crime, I'm going to do the crime.
You know what? I get that. Make the sentence work.
Okay, so
if I got to go to jail anyway.
so play this out for me, Nate. You've been falsely accused. You're in Italy. You've been in an Italian prison for
Correct.
6 years.
Correct.
You get out.
Ba-ba-da-boo-ba-da, you committed the murder.
You smell fresh oregano. Finally, outside of the prison. Prison oregano is bullshit. Fresh oregano. You're in Italy. What happens next?
Well, that's the thing. This is before the
How
6
do you?
This is before the 6 years even kicks in, okay?
Okay, you kill someone in prison.
Yeah. Well, no. Not even in prison. If I get out on bail, I don't know if that's a thing in Italy. I don't know how they do compared
Ballet.
to the American system. But I'm just saying, like, that's just insane. Okay, if and again, they talk about this. Like, the media was against her.
Yeah.
The people were against her. Like, the jury just like, you're supposed to go in this with an open mind, innocent until proven guilty. I know that's American. I don't know. I don't know how they do justice in Italy. But if you're going to put all that against me, I'm killing someone. If you want it to be true, I'll make it true.
Like, you guys want to be right so bad.
That's fine. We're gonna talk about it then.
So you just hide a knife in a baguette and kill the next random person? How does this work? I want to know.
I should have brought Lindsay, whose cat I'm babysitting, my sister, studied abroad in Italy.
Oh.
I feel like I need to bring her on to hear
Yeah,
how
and
she would
find
do
out.
her
Tell her where she would hide the
Italian
knife.
study abroad crimes.
To me, if I spent 6 years in an Italian prison, I got free, I would just go back home. I wouldn't kill any.
That's very practical. That's very practical
But think about this, okay?
and level-headed.
on that same, if you just got out of prison, okay, and they were like, we were wrong, you didn't kill anybody, and then somebody died, they would be like, I don't know if we can point this finger at you again.
If it happened after you
Double
got out
jeopardy,
and
is
you
that a
already
thing?
served the sentence for something you didn't do, is it like a fucking like an IOU
Like,
like I owe you one murder because I served a trial for a crime I didn't do?
and that's the thing. It's like, especially like I said, if you're gonna, they have to apologize. You owe me an apology at that point.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
If you don't apologize and somebody dies, you can't accuse me again because you were wrong the first time.
So I'm perfect.
This is a free pass to kill somebody. Maybe you had beef with somebody right before you went in. 6 years later, you're out. You're like, it's time. I didn't kill that guy, but this guy?
I've got like some built up karma that I need to. I've got a lot in my savings.
I'm not trying to go positive here. I'm trying to go net neutral.
Song number 4 is fucked up.
We could just keep saying that. That's gonna work through the whole.
We're gonna go through this. It's the whole album.
This one's crazy, man. This one's
They're
crazy.
super crazy. They are writing about some
Can I
serious
quickly?
shit.
I would like to quickly say, when I was looking at this album, I went to their Bandcamp. And Bandcamp has a feature where people who have listened to the album or bought the album can like leave a review.
Mhm. How was that?
I'm not like judging anyone who likes this music or whatever, but as someone who like I was like a little stressed out by this album. And @/succubus said, if God had a second son, it would be them. And then Bosny123 said, I can relate to a lot of the songs, and most of them bring comfort. I was like, I don't know
Which
about
ones?
that. Right. Which ones bring comfort?
There are a couple that bring comfort.
The one about the like falsely accused murder, or the one about realizing you're dead at your own funeral?
The one about someone else having Christian deconstructualism.
But
Is that the
also-
right word? I botched that.
Just take a look at this man.
He does kind of look like Jesus.
If someone told you that this man was the second coming of Jesus, and you know,
I wouldn't say no. I would say, tell me more.
let's say,
So
I see
you
where you're
think they were
coming
making a joke, or do you think they really thought he was the second coming of Jesus in this comment?
I don't want to put words into anyone else's
from. I don't
mouth,
want
but
to
I
put
think
words
that
in
if you're leaving,
@/succubus.
I think if you're leaving reviews on a Bandcamp page, it's coming from a place of earnesty.
Specifically
right.
because it's on Bandcamp.
Yeah, anywhere
Yeah.
else.
That
you
is
might
for
not
the
find-
artist.
They're like, I know my boy Donovan is gonna go through these comments. So song number 4 called
He just-
Morning Sickness, but spelled MOURN as opposed to the pregnancy symptom.
Yes.
Is like this kind of mind fuck where you're feeling off, your body's feeling weird, you're feeling detached, you feel like you might be in a dream and you see your mom, and then you put all the puzzle pieces together and you're like, oh fuck, I'm dead and I'm observing my funeral.
That sums it up. Good job, Sarah. That's,
Thank you.
that's the song.
And that is arguably my favorite part of the song.
Why are you burying me? Is
Why
one of the
are
lyrics.
you literally right here is because the music changes.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh,
Oh shit.
that's me. Oh no.
Oh.
And there's so many music changes. They are the king
They're-
of cool transitions and pitting 3 different feels in a song. And oh, I eat it up. Give me the new.
And that's the thing too. The same thing from Human Target Practice, where there were those 2 different, like there were the few lines that were from the cop
Yeah.
perspective and the few
Uh-huh.
lines from
Is
the
a
other
different
perspective.
feel.
And this is the same one of he's talking about I'm looking down at this, but then there's still the parts that are he's still here, and you're like, I can feel my brother. He's right here.
It's like The Lovely Bones. Did you watch The Lovely Bones?
No.
It's
play
a
Dark Souls.
movie about Stanley Tucci is in it. He's really good
Stanley
in
Tucci.
it. I love Stanley
So
Tucci.
good.
It's like this young, like maybe middle school or high school aged girl, and she gets murdered and she doesn't realize that she's been murdered, and she's watching her family like grieve over her, and she's watching the person who killed her like have a smug smile and bury her body, and she's like, oh fuck. This reminded me of that.
These guys should write a song about that.
About the lovely. I mean, they kind of did.
They kinda did.
I should have made a note at what point in the song that is with, because it's the specific part where he's talking to his brother. His brother, why won't you answer? And he's, the way the music changes right there. This is right before it, I think. And it's just all this.
Is this my fucking cadaver, dude?
That's the realization.
Is that my cadaver?
Oh man.
What a good line. Delivered so good.
Yeah.
He is so good.
There's a real sense of urgency there. Oh man. Nuts.
And it's just like such an emotional moment because you're just like, again, imagine putting yourself in that situation. Like you're looking down, you're just like, that's my brother. I'm trying to talk to my brother. My brother would talk to me. Come on, what are you doing? Talk. I'm not. I'm right here. I'm right here. Like, is that my cadaver?
And it's like, fuck, I'm a corpse.
Fuck.
Heavy stuff. I'm glad we're drinking whiskey.
I know. I'm due for a refill soon. Just
That is why that's why I sent this. I said this might be a little much. I know you guys like to keep it a little light, a little positive.
Let's do a refill and let's do some falling on deaf ears right quick.
I love that.
All right.
Ponyo, behave.
Give me a good loud meow. 30 seconds into this.
All right, and we're back, folks. And since Nate is a guard of Guard the Bard, the D&D live action roleplay game, we are going to head into episode 2 of Fantasy ReBrews, a scripted audio drama. Here it goes.
Previously on Fantasy ReBrews.
Well, hello, Erica. What will it be today?
Those raiders. Someone ought to do something.
Where is it? Somebody stole my hammock.
You're ruining me in over a hammock?
Ow, my head. I am unconscious.
Erica, you really did a doozy on him, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess I did, but he deserved it. You saw what he did to that guy's leg.
Well, he saved me, and for that I thank you.
All in a day's work, I suppose.
What has happened here?
It was a raging orc, young lad. Came in raging all over a stolen hammock, I suppose.
Yeah, city guard guy. He would have tore the inn down if I hadn't done something.
Well, it's just my luck. My shift's almost over, too. What did you say? A hammock? What did he say exactly?
Well, he said a great deal about accounting and his warrior chief parents naming him Dennis.
No. About the hammock.
Well, just that someone had stolen it, is all.
Oh, no. There are too many coincidences. I'll have to investigate immediately. The hammock bandit is back on the loose.
You mean the burglar of backyard belongings?
The swinging swindler.
The leisure looter?
The relaxing robber?
The shaded shoplifter.
The park poacher?
The plunder, the pillowed plunderer?
The lackadaisical larcenist.
The horizontal hijacker?
The prostrate prowler.
What will you do?
I don't know. Find him, I guess.
I'll help. And Simon will too.
I don't know, miss. The inn is all I have, and I'm the only one to tend to it. Can't just abandon post with it being Friday and all.
Simon, it's gone! Your hammock! It's been snatched.
Me hammock? Now it'd be personal.
Wait, what do we do with Dennis?
Some other guard will get him.
All right, well, where should we start?
Probably some backyards. Check the trees. The quickest way is through this dark alley. Follow me.
The backyard burglar! You've knocked out my new friend.
I don't know if that's any good or funny, but we're gonna commit to it as hard as we can.
A sensational performance on all accounts.
I had a fun time. I'll do another take.
I just want to think of more hammock puns.
We have like a dozen hammock puns.
If you think of another one, write it in, and we'll circle back.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That was 3 minutes. I don't want it any longer than that.
Yeah. It's very short form.
In my head, I'm imagining the old. I don't know if you guys were ever on this part of YouTube in 2006 that were just like voiced over videos of like World of Warcraft content. And
That's this.
I can see just 4 characters in a tavern, and they just camera pan back and forth to the different
It's
characters.
just over Dark Souls content.
I'm gonna make Cameron do so much unnecessary Foley work for that. He's gonna have a bad time, but it's gonna be worth it.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you, Cam. Mwah.
I'll give you a little smooch on the head.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Let's get back into the album.
One more album work.
Really like this next song.
I'd love to know where the fuck we were on here.
And my mom listens to this podcast, so I can't talk about God too much.
So
I can.
does mine.
I can. This is
my mom does not, though. And you know what? I've got some words to say about God.
Nate's
Let's
mom.
go!
Do not listen. They can say all of the what's the word?
She would not dare.
Blasphemy.
All the blasphemy. Nate,
I
you
do
gotta,
that.
You got to spew it for us.
Don't worry, I do that.
Can
but
I
this-
say quickly?
Yes.
I got kicked out of my church. Like formally.
They were like, actually, Sarah, no.
No, like I like went through the whole gauntlet as a teen. I like did Sunday school and I did Thursday school.
What is that?
I know.
That
I
is
went
extra
to
credit God school.
literally.
That's like
I went
Saturday
to
school.
a Lutheran church in Wisconsin, which is very common for Wisconsin to be Lutheran.
Mhm.
And I went through the whole fucking gauntlet. And Thursday school was basically like confirmation class, and I like got confirmed. And the thing about being Lutheran is like when you're Catholic or a lot of other denominations, you have like your first communion when you're like a kid.
Yeah. And you gotta do it again.
I didn't. I went through confirmation and I didn't get to have the little shot of wine until like eighth grade, my freshman year of high school. Anyway, I went through the whole 9 yards and I got confirmed and I was like a member of the church. And then I moved to Chicago for college, and maybe like a year after, to my home address in Oak Creek, Wisconsin,
Kicked you out.
my mom got a letter that was like, "Hey, Sarah, you haven't been in a minute. Are you still with it?"
We can tell you're going to a art college that uses they, them pronouns on the bathrooms. God doesn't really fuck with that in Wisconsin.
So my mom like sent me a photo of this letter and was like, "How should I respond?" And I was like, "You can say no." So I have officially been kicked out of St. John's Lutheran Church in South Milwaukee.
That's probably okay.
And you know what?
That's
In
fine.
the 2 hours that I've known you so far, never respected you more. It's going up. It's only going up.
I love that.
So yeah, a fun fact about millennials is like we're leaving the church more than any generation.
Because they deserve it.
So I'm interested. It's interesting to me that we don't find more songs about this sort of thing.
Yeah.
That seems like a very common thing to be like, I was raised this way, and now I don't hear God anymore, right?
Yeah.
These kids these days, all they hear is the hyper pop.
I don't hear
These
God.
kids these days.
He's washed up by hyperpop.
All I hear is 100 Gex and Charlie XCX. That is my God now.
But a lot of lyrics in this one really spoke to me as a person who was raised religious and is no longer.
Very true.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of these same thoughts.
Just about how, like, yeah, like you feel like God's not listening because he does have deaf ears, because you have to exist to have ears.
What if I am?
Welcome to Album ReBrews, the most agnostic music podcast.
But it's true that, like, what if you are just wasting your time praying and stuff, and then nothing happens? And, like, are you willing to accept that nothing happened?
Yeah.
Well, it's just like the line, like, God, are you not listening? All the careful people call for what they need. And there's philosophical debates be like, if God is all powerful and he lets evil in the world, then is God evil or good? It's a tough question.
Yeah. The lyric that made me go, hubba hubba, what? was, what if you're real and we're wasting all of the precious time we have for worship when we're getting nothing back? And as someone who was Mom, click away if you don't
My
want to
mom
be
too.
mad at me. I love my mom very much. I do, but she is the type of person who, when a family member is sick, tells me to like pray for
Pray on
them.
Yeah.
And
Which is a nice sentiment.
it is a nice sentiment.
Super nice and sweet.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I agree that we should keep that person in our thoughts and, you know, hope that they are doing well. That being said, when I was in church all the time, I kind of felt like I was wasting my time. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to say like I didn't take it seriously, but like I was like, who are we talking to? Like,
You know?
who are we worshiping? Like, I guess I never felt the tangible touch of God. And for that reason, did not feel like I could, quote unquote, build a relationship with him.
There is a girl on TikTok who is a former youth pastor and youth pastor musician. And she talks about stuff that's really neat. She's like, you didn't feel God during that worship service. You just felt a really nice C to G resolution with some nice chords.
Damn.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Church music is really built to make you like,
It's resonant.
Yeah, literally.
It's deep inside my chest, and I get that.
That's a side tangent a little bit, but yeah. So a lot of stuff from this song is very relatable, I think, to a lot of people our age.
And I love the way they say it personally. Fairy tales in a parlor, basket filled with dollars. It's like,
yeah,
somehow
Maybe we buy
every
our
single
salvation.
religion has such a similar timeline and storyline. And then it's just like, but come to us and give us your money, and then you and God will be cool.
You guys know what's lame? Religion. You know what's cool? Science, which this next song has science in it.
I love science.
God,
Like,
yes.
this next song is called Cosmic Narcissism, which
Jesus
is
Christ.
kind of like, this is a good spot to put this song right after the disbelief in religion run.
Very true.
Because kind of like, because religion fills a lot of void in people's life, right? But then to just be like, nothing matters, I am just particles.
Like, yikes.
It's kind of a logical next step sometimes, depending on how you look at it. We could
it's-
do a whole philosophy
But
review
it's
about it.
more than that. It's I am more than particles.
He is super more than
Just,
particles,
you know?
and he says it a lot.
And like, if we're just particles, how come sometimes being particles hurt so bad?
Why does this suck?
Yeah.
Why do my particles hurt me?
Why do these other particles cheat on me with other particles?
Other people's particles don't have these problems.
Yeah.
Why do these other particles have more money than I do?
Why are these other particles in my bed with my wife? What up with that, Neil deGrasse
There
Tyson?
you go. Way more dick particles than I do. and they're putting those particles in my wife. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I'm so sorry. I did not mean to invoke Neil deGrasse Tyson on your podcast.
guys talking about dick particles?
Specifically, which part of the star is that? Oh my god.
So this song is about getting cheated on.
That's not it at all.
It's not?
I don't know. It's somewhat. But
that's what genius.com took away from it.
Oh, we cannot trust genius. I mean,
We always trust genius.
I like this first line: brainwashed to be more than particles, frequently aligned with the sun.
which is bullshit.
We're brainwashed to be like.
Do you know?
I'm special.
all
Do you
these
know how
different-
chill it would be to just be particles?
I think that's what he's saying.
I don't wanna pay rent.
Like to just exist. All these.
I don't want health insurance. I want to exist and float around. That'd be rad.
I'd love to just vibe.
But he does have some lines in here. Don't say more than we are, which kind of lead to a relationship, right?
But you're right. No, that is true. Like this is very clearly about he had gotten home. How could she do everything? He felt that someone else was there. Like, and you sent me running in circles until I finally hit the bottom of the bottle again.
Mm-hmm. And the whole let me look at it. Don't say I'm important. Don't say I'm the one. Don't say that you loved me.
He's just particles, dude.
Owie.
And I think that's the name cosmic narcissism. It really is just that. Because human being, when you really think about it and you do the math of human beings, I'm this big. I'm 6'2", 240 pounds.
I'm 5'2".
Right? And we're on
his 2 feet.
I'm
1 foot.
I'm in this state, on this country, on this planet, in this solar system, in this universe galaxy.
In this apartment.
It just keeps getting bigger, and
On this
eventually you get smaller and smaller, and it's just like, why are you so concerned with being what you are?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like stuff like that. Makes me feel better about stuff. Some people get anxious about it.
That makes me give myself a reality check sometimes. Is I'm going to keep my job very separated from this podcast because I care about this job. But I had a stressful afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And I had to call a bunch of people and do a bunch of things only for it to just end up not working out. End up just having to kaput the whole effort. And at the end of it all, I was like, what the fuck ever. Today is just a day in the whole timeline of timelines.
And we're just really smart monkeys that gave ourselves this stress.
That's all it is.
For
I'm
why?
just a smart monkey who knows how to use an iPhone.
Yeah, we just...
And knows how to communicate print quantities.
And you know what I do with that? You know what I do? I talk shit about how good I am at Mario Party minigames over my friends.
Do you want to play Mario Party after this?
Don't do this to yourself.
I'm not doing it to myself. I'm
is
doing
a
it to
competitive man.
you.
We just
too.
no. Okay, listen.
You just became friends.
I
we
am
just
a
met.
horrible person when I play Mario Party.
I'm a horrible person all the time, and Mario Party only makes it worse.
Hold my hand. I think we need to play Mario Party after this.
I'm so sorry to everyone.
I think we just
can
need to
hear.
relax.
I know that Peter is listening to this episode 1 month into the future, and he's begging you not to do this to yourself.
I think we just need to relax and divide, guys.
Okay. Yeah, let's keep going.
This is a super nice, well-needed respite.
It is a song about being in love, young love, and reminiscing on what you once had, and understanding that sometimes it doesn't work, and you just have to separate from each other.
I think also our experiences color our perception.
Yeah.
So I heard the song and I was like, this is the anxiety song.
Absolutely.
This is the anxiety song. Because I am medicated for anxiety. I am an anxious person. So I was
the song
listening
is
to
called
this.
Relax.
It is relax/divide. That is the
Relax
two
half
halves.
of it. And the
Oh.
lyrics that are I'm paraphrasing, but
It's not
everything
healthy
is
to be
fine
this
now.
fucking anxious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's sort of this thing that I could really relate to where at points in the song they're singing everything's cool, everything's chill. And I've had, moments like that where I phrased it to my therapist as like, my brain is quiet right now. Like, I'm just like existing and it's a vibe and I can sit on my couch and like watch an episode of television and not freak out about whatever. But then simultaneously, there is sort of this like, I feel like you're going to get into a horrible car crash the second I stop talking to you.
Ooh.
And I was like, I feel that.
I've had that. I've had that so much. You're like, someone is on their way home. You care about them a lot. And it's like, it's 15 minutes from their house to your house.
And they've driven that route a million times.
And it takes 3 minutes longer than usual. And you immediately start.
I'm like, oh, they're dead.
They're gone. It's over for them. And it's like, and it's something as simple as the train got delayed. They're driving home. They stopped at McDonald's and got some fries. Like, it's not that complex.
The most reasonable shit.
But your brain explodes.
I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to take care of their cat?
You know what I mean?
Now that they're gone. What am I going to do with all the belongings in their apartment?
We'll help take care of Ponyo.
Ponyo.
Maybe Ponyo's foster parents.
Yes.
I think both of you have earned like an uncle badge.
He's a pretty sweet guy.
That's all I've wanted.
He's a pretty sweet guy.
It's a very nice little boy.
He is.
But yeah, it's just like that symbol, and like, God forbid it ever happens, and there's no way to recover from that, and you're always going to think about that. If something terrible actually happens to someone that you really care about like that, and you're just going to be like, I was right, and I'm always right.
Ooh.
Confirmation bias, baby.
That's rough.
We've talked about true crime already on this episode, but this is the second song regarding an actual... I don't know if this is technically like a crime or like public investigation.
That is the fascinating part, is it's still a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah. So song number 8 is called Disappearing Syndrome.
Man, I think more songs should just start by shouting nightmares. That is a great word to shout in the beginning of your song. It works so well.
And it's true, though. Like, that first opening, like, nightmares, anything that will happen.
So I think it's time to explain who this song is about.
Yes.
Yes, please.
We are traveling to the Cecil Hotel, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So for those of you who are not familiar, there is sort of a famous case regarding Elisa Lam. This was like in the early 2010s.
Yeah, I think it was 2013. It was right before this album, which was 2014.
Yes. Elisa Lam was staying at a hotel in LA, and she like had been in contact with her parents every day that she was staying at this hotel. And one day she did not contact them. She disappeared, and her parents reported it to the police. People were like, hey, where the fuck is this girl? LAPD released this video of Elisa. Like, it was the last known video of her before she disappeared. And in this video, it's like an elevator security camera. She goes into this elevator and she seems like very freaked out. She seems very paranoid. She's like, she gets in the elevator and she like pushes the button and she like looks out the door and she like looks and she kind of corners herself. And this is the last video of her. Maybe like a week or a couple weeks later, they end up finding her body just in this hotel's water system. And on Wikipedia, her death is ruled as an accidental drowning. But
there's some video footage of her in the elevator being weird.
And the weird part about the video is no one gets into the elevator. No one else is in the elevator with her. Like, it seems in this video like she is freaked out over quote unquote nothing. No one knows what has made her act this way.
Did she have any history of like
any
mental type of
that
things?
is the next part of it, is that she was diagnosed bipolar, and the toxicology report on her after they found her eventually would show that she was off of her medication at that time.
Oh, so that could do some things to
Yes.
you. Yeah.
But
It's a
I
fucked
did not
up
realize
situation.
this song was about. I mean, it's all about heavy stuff, but
yeah, ends up on the roof, ends up in one
the
of
hotel's
the
like
water tanks.
Yeah, and the reason I'm not gonna get too gruesome because I don't think that's the
Get-
way that we roll. But I will say that I think a driving force to her being found was hotel guests complaining that the water pressure was low and that the water was not what they were expecting.
Was a little murky per se.
Yeah.
If you don't want to get
that
too
makes
far
these
into
lines so heavier.
Yeah.
So dark.
It's
Disappearing syndrome. She's there, disappearing, flowing through the water pipes. I
Yeah.
did not know what that meant till
Yeah.
just now.
Yeah.
And I feel icky.
Yeah.
and this is another one that
No, go for it. Say
this is
what
like
you're gonna
another
say.
one of imagining something like that happening, you know, and you're just a regular hotel guest staying at the hotel, and like, how do you experience that for however many days you go to take a shower and you're like, oh, this is kind of weird, but like, I'll take my shower, and you go to drink some water and you're like, oh, this is kind of weird, but like, you know, it's, and then you find out all this and you're like,
Oh,
man,
no.
I'm just reading the lyrics now. They're beautiful lyrics. They're very well done.
Once you know the context,
laid to
of
rest,
what
laid to rest,
happened.
found in a liquid nest.
found in a liquid nest.
Oh man.
And that's what's interesting too, is the same way that they question it, the same way anybody who questioned it in 2014 is, you know, what happened?
Mhm.
Was this a performance? Was this a final performance by an artist? Was this, you know,
The lyric I think of is "Was she gone before the splash?"
yeah,
Wow.
Because her death, again, we're not a crime podcast, but like this is relevant. Her death was ruled as an accidental drowning, and I guess with that, the powers that be would say she was off her medication, she was in a state of mania or whatever, and in this craze she must have jumped into this tank and drowned.
mm-hmm.
But there's also this video of her being paranoid and this speculation, like, what if she actually was running something from something? What if she actually was like killed and then thrust into this tank? Like,
And
it's
that's
still very open-ended.
some of the opening lyrics in the song about if these walls could talk, would they talk about the murder in the bedroom, the stalker on the top floor? Like, you don't know. None of us will know.
And I believe also the hotel that she was staying at had previously had some crimes committed,
Oh, weird.
some murders and whatnot, because LA.
Of course.
So yeah, it's like it's very much history's mysteries.
Just a lot of bad vibes in that
A lot
hotel.
of
Yeah.
bad vibes and a very off-putting case.
Truly.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. That one is difficult.
And that's again another hard topic that it's fascinating that they decided to put on their album.
Yeah.
That they decided that was necessary to talk about.
That is the thing that interests me is now this is two cases of like a woman put in the public light because of really unfortunate circumstances. And it feels like from their perspective that they are in both cases on her side. They think that, you know, maybe Elisa could have been murdered. Like maybe she wasn't crazy. Maybe like something did happen. Maybe it wasn't just a case of like a bipolar, not that, you know, this doesn't lead to things, but like a bipolar person being off their meds. Or in the case of Amanda Knox, like
Obviously, someone framing
she was framed.
easy
and
enough to frame
the media
someone.
had her from the get-go. And
Yeah.
it's, I think, really interesting to see a band of, you know, male identifying people on their side. On the side of the woman in these cases.
That's nice.
They
Yeah.
have a
Really
lot
nice.
of interesting stuff. This is
They
why I
do.
like them so much. They are fascinating to listen to.
they're both like really interesting takes. They got my attention. And I think that leads really well into the next song, which I just want to so briefly touch on, Hanging Revelation.
Missed injections.
Missed
injections,
that is
sorry.
Is this one
revelation.
drug use?
This is
This one's drug use.
Donovan Malero's personal addiction. He had a lot of stuff with that, and he has talked about it in a lot of interviews. And this is definitely a part of that. Sorry if you just heard me crack my thumbs on that microphone.
I like this song a lot. There's so much tension and release. Well, and that makes sense that it's about drug use with all the tension in this song.
Still we pretend.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of emotion back and forth in that little 20 seconds.
And it's, if you had continued playing, it's still we pretend that our lives are not, that our lives don't consist of, what's the exact word?
Still, we pretend that our lives do not consist of chasing shit that helps us cope with how we see ourselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly that.
So heavy.
And that is really
Reno.
funny because I was listening to your last, episode, the Water Me Down episode, first track. You guys were talking about like people having those moments of like hating themselves and stuff like that.
I'm not proud of the person I am.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I went from that episode listening to this album and I said, same concept of, be it drugs or be it whatever you have to tell yourself on a day-to-day basis to make it through. Because it's hard. Shit's hard out here.
I think also from like if we're gonna like transpose the musical elements of what we just heard, like the into the
Yeah.
like, I immediately, my brain goes like thinking of a relationship where when you're not with this person, your brain goes, fuck, I'm mad about A, B, C, and D. They treat me horribly in this way. They suck in this way. They bleh in this way. And then you're with them and it's like fun for a little bit. And that's the da-na-na. And then you leave again and you're like, I'm mad that they did this and this and this and this.
yeah.
And it sucks that they did this and this and this. And then you're with them again and you're like, na-na-na.
And this is what's interesting. It goes back to Relax Divide, where it's
Yeah.
like they have that moment of, I'm worried about you right now. And then at the same time, you come back to this and it's a little more violent.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's, we have this shared bond over this, in this instance, whatever certain drug. And it's, as long as we're together, as long as we have this pipe, I see us growing older together. And it's like, you know, that's not a healthy relationship. You know, I'm sure a lot of people understand that, of like, you have that thing that bonds you together for good, for better or worse.
Sometimes for worse.
Sometimes for worse.
In the case of this song.
And it's, you know, in this song, it's tying one off, you know?
Yeah.
They just do such a good job. Like, we covered some of those musical transitions, but there's even more in there.
Oh yeah, they're the king.
Oh.
And there's so much. Sometimes people will equate metal music or like post-hardcore music or stuff like this to jazz, which you don't normally think about. But they have like three things in common: complexity, virtuosity, and the third one, which I forget.
One and two, though, for sure.
But those first two, like, there is a lot of nuance and complexity in these songs. Like, there's so much guitar riffs, there's so much rhythmic stuff. Yeah, and they're really good about doing that in a way that relates to the lyrics they're talking about.
Yeah.
And if Zach forgot his point, I'll throw in an extra point here,
Yeah.
is that Hail the Sun falls into this category of swancore.
Swancore.
Oh, say more.
And that is a sort of subcategory that derives from the Dance Gavin Dance guitarist William Swan. I don't know if his name's actually William, but it's Will Swan. He's a very talented guitarist, but he does a lot of interesting stuff. And they do a lot of similar stuff, sort of with the clean vocals and then the scream. So you end up with a lot of this separation of concept there.
Huh.
And they are definitely one of those bands that falls into that subcategory because they had their own record label that was Blue Swan Records, and they were signed to that for a while, and then they did their own thing with Equal Vision Records. But that is definitely part of it.
I thought it had something to do with swans, but it's just the last name of the guy.
Exactly. That would be cool. Honestly, sample more swans on songs.
Swans are pretty intimidating.
Give me
You
a-
ever
Swans are
walked
just geese.
near a swan?
They're just
And
geese.
you don't know
Swans-
where how close they want you to be to them.
Swans are just pretty geese.
Swans are just pretty geese.
Yeah.
Also, this makes me think that I need to watch Black Swan again.
No. The
Yes!
fingernail scene makes me hate everything.
It's horrifying.
Which scene?
the fingernail one. They
Yeah.
shouldn't put that in movies.
There's a lot.
Darren Aronofsky, man. He's a fucked up guy.
This is the Black Swan of albums.
Yes. Natalie Portman actually did the backing.
Do you guys want to keep talking about sad songs that make us sad and move to Hanging Revolutions?
Now
I'd
I wanna,
like to pee first.
Okay.
If that's cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? While that's happening, I'd like to talk about how I personally would love to fist fight a goose, but it is illegal.
It's illegal?
Apparently,
They
they're-
have teeth.
I won't tell anybody.
They're
if
some
you
sort
do
of
it.
protected
I won't
because
snitch on you.
my girlfriend told me, I think it was my girlfriend who told me this story about they had like a foreign exchange student who came from out of the country and he saw a goose and the goose was like fucking with him. He killed the goose, took it home, cooked it, and he got expelled because they were like, you can't do that. But he was like, it's a bird. It's right there. I want to eat it.
You can't I bet
That
they're
is where I
tasty.
go to the bathroom.
The
All right.
perfect cut.
Cue flush. All right, guys, we're back. We did just spend too long having another drink in the kitchen before getting back here. So we're just gonna get back into it.
We're
just
moving
gonna
right
do
now.
it. Let's Hanging Revelations.
Hanging Revelations.
Really heavy lyrical material on this one, yeah, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have the lyrics up, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know.
We can clean take that and just pull them up.
Nope. Cameron, you put this in here.
Swinging
This is
against
literally-
the wind, keeping
Oh, that's
the
right.
noose
Okay.
tight on her skin.
Simple explanation. This is a very tragic song. Swear on the Bible, that earns their trust. Like, this is a very tragic song. Aren't we all just okay? Who's the real culprit? Like, you never want to talk about who is the real problem.
I feel like I'm a little numb at this point by the album. You know what I mean? Where like you experience so much trauma, you're just like, okay.
Just, I mean, just look at the song, Cold Sweat Dripping, I Was on Their Radar. It's a matter of like, when these people that have it out for like the truth, they're coming after you. You know that you're being hunted. You know that you can't live peacefully like that.
I did think the line "demons and ghosts, people she knows" was a kind of nice off rhyme as far as the lyricism goes. I was like, oh,
It's crazy how far we just jumped in that 20 minutes. I'm so sorry to all the listeners at home.
right from gooses straight into hanging witches.
This song made me think of season 3 of American Horror Story.
Yeah, I can see that.
Coven, where they're burning witches, they're hanging witches, and all of this has a basis in legitimate
Real
United
things.
States history.
Yeah, Salem witch trials, right?
Yeah.
Crazy
Fucking
stuff.
murdering and putting women on trial because I don't know, like they knew how to do a math problem and shit like that.
Because they knew the calendar of when the seasons were gonna change.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where it's like, well, if you drown, you're not a witch. And if you survive the drowning, you're a witch.
Which
and
is
if
the
you survive the
stupidest-
drowning, you're going to get burned at the stake.
The double stupidest thing.
yeah. Like, yeah.
But that was definitely the end of this song, is capture and torture victims that we're afraid of. And they just didn't understand. So they were like, we are terrified of this person who can read and do math. And the line, fear will sell that murder is justified. And it's just like, that's really all it takes in, even now, is just that like, if they can convince you that this person was like a threat, then
Amanda Knotts.
that so many people will just hop on the bandwagon and be like, it had to be done. It had to be done like
For
this.
sure.
Crazy.
I think Jane Doe is also just as fucked up, but it's played with a nice guitar part. Can we play it?
Sure.
It
From the
is.
jump.
It's a very beautiful little piece.
She falls, the look.
So probably still really messed up lyricism and stuff, but it sounds nice. Sounds
It
like
does.
it's okay.
It's a very peaceful track to go with the lyrics of this woman has just been murdered, and this other murderer is just, they leave the room. They just vanish into thin air, and no one ever knows what happens.
And not only did they leave the room, they were presumably someone that Jane Doe knew.
Because, like, it was so simple. It was, they were there, no one questioned it,
Mm-hmm.
and then just like that. And as well, the stains are steamed, the walls received a perfect coat of white to cover up the homicide. It's just the building people, like whatever building this happened, whatever hotel, whatever this and that, they just covered it up and moved on because they don't want that to affect their business. And, you know, they didn't know this woman, so it's just woven on the coattails of a ghost. It's just another story, and they move on from it.
Hey, real quick, if I ever get murdered,
Who did it?
will you two promise to raise hell until we figure out how?
Yeah, I'll go on air and say that.
Cool.
How or why? Those are two different questions.
Or who?
Yes.
Just all we need the details.
Just all of it. Yeah, I would like quit my job and like spend all till it was done.
Cool.
Be a hermit until I was like, why did my podcast host get murdered?
It's valid.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I think I could support that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any plans to get murdered, but we're talking about a lot of women getting murdered.
You're feeling
So
pretty
I just want to
susceptible.
really quickly say,
Cameron, I know I'm the new guest here, but
when-
I'm looking right at you, Cameron.
when you get murdered, statistically,
not when.
when someone gets murdered, statistically, it's by someone they know.
This might not be a true crime podcast right now, but
Mm.
will it turn into
Will it
one
turn
going
into
forward?
one about how we solved your murder case?
I don't
would-
have any inclinations that
I will
it's Cameron.
Sarah, I promise to find your murderer and then also make a podcast about finding him.
Perfect. That's all I needed.
And this will be the next episode. We interview them live.
No, we
I'm
don't
actually
interview
getting
them.
murdered in 2
Why not?
weeks.
They don't get to get on the pod. They killed my co-host.
Yeah. So what better way? We get the confession live on tape,
They spend life in prison and we shit talk them together.
but we get the confession live first. It's great content. You're gonna get millions of listeners.
They don't get to. No,
But
we'll,
at what expense?
we'll read the confession.
expense?
They don't get
Oh.
to be on.
No.
Only chillers get to be
if
on.
you ever have my murderer on for an episode,
That's what I'm saying.
I'll haunt your ass.
Hi, welcome to Album Bruce. We're joined here today with John
Welcome
Dell.
to Album
Sarah's
Bruce.
a recent
This
murderer.
man said he killed Sarah.
The most haunted music podcast. And I'm in the nether realm, like, ooh, fuck you, Zach.
Welcome to Album Bruce, the only podcast with a dead co-host. I have to make all the jokes because Sarah's dead.
It's funny that in the Google Drive, Sarah actually wrote a whole bit if she happened to get murdered that I now have to read out loud.
to do it.
How do you share drive permissions with someone that's dead?
I like keep tweeting from your accounts as it's hey guys, Sarah here. I'm dead, but check out the latest episode.
Her tweets got a lot more unhinged right after she died. Absolutely wild.
So at my funeral, Would you deliver a eulogy or an anti-eulogy?
I think you deserve just a
I
regular
think they
eulogy.
coined the word anti-eulogy. I don't think that existed before this song.
I hope not.
I hope not.
I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised if it existed because I think a lot of people have been done dirty.
It's true.
Do we know, is this a song he wrote from personal experience or as kind of like he did with the other songs where it's like from afar imagining what it would feel like?
As far as I know, he did not have this personal experience. None of them did. But this last track on the album is titled Anti-Eulogy, parentheses, I Hope You Stay Dead. And even that says like a huge amount
About the song already. You already know.
about the
Yeah.
song and about just like, we've all had those people in our lives that like, if they happen to die, you'd be a little sad, but you'd also be like, so be it. You know?
The powers that be, you know?
It is what it is. You know?
Sonically, a great way to end the album.
It is beautiful.
Can we play 35
Absolutely.
of the intro?
It's very ethereal. It's so good.
Very settled, good, resolving, very the way that intro builds for such a song with like a dark meaning.
Would you say like resolute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very resolute.
And personally, if we could also skip to like 30 seconds from the end and just let that wrap up as well. And it just starts to fade out after this whole thing. And it's just like such a nice little ending piece. Because the last lyrics there is just, this is in remembrance to the time that you were with us. And while you may be gone now, you are always in my head.
Very resolute. I think Sarah hit it on the head.
It's really just that finale.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, going back, what is it? 3 more lines. You're survived by a portion of my life, but that's all you get. And I hope you stay dead. And it's literally just, it's just that.
This
It's-
song gave me shivers. Some of these lines in here, man. Like, oh,
It's like they'll always be in your memories, but like they don't get anything more than that.
Yeah.
They don't deserve anything more than that. Because
I
they
mean,
whatever they did, they're done. You don't get anything else from me.
I don't think resolute means anything more than how you feel about a certain situation is concrete. So,
yes.
however this person feels about this eulogy is pretty concrete based upon their experience.
Based on parentheses, I hope you stay dead.
Based on parentheses, their experience with this person and parentheses.
Yeah. Really, really heavy stuff. I feel like I could have said that about every song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which again, you know, sorry to darken the tone a little bit on your
Are you
cheerful little cast
We
here.
joked for
We've
20
been in
minutes about
night
dead
mode
Sarah.
the whole
It's
fucking podcast. I think. So we've covered the last song. It's time to
Jeez.
give her a brewski.
All right, I'm gonna hit pause. We're back, folks. We've deliberated. I want to give this band and this lead singer ReBrewski, and we're pulling it back to our roots of the ReBrewski, which is kind of like a superlative or most likely. So I want to give this lead singer
Donovan Malero.
Donovan Malero. Thank you. I was gonna look up his name. The ReBrewski for celebrity lookalike Jesus. Please come collect your brewski at your leisure, Donovan. And thank you for your fantastic album. We had a great time talking about it.
Should we take it home?
Let's take it home.
Folks, we are Album ReBrews, and we will continue to be Album ReBrews. If you want to check us out on Twitter and Instagram, we are at Album ReBrews. And if you want to check out our website, where we're starting to publish blog posts, Zach recently published Concert ReBrews, which is the inaugural post of a series where we attend concerts and write about it. Our website is www.albumrebrews.com. More fun to come.
I will be taking them to a Hail the Sun concert in the nearest future possible.
Yes.
Whatever the situation arises, I will get them there. Don't worry.
A giant thank you, as we're wrapping up this episode, to Cameron Bob for editing the show. And also doing all the Foley work for episode 2 of Fantasy ReBrews, which I bet is going to be a real delight. I'm super excited to work on that.
Thank you
with
so
him.
much, Cameron.
Check out Cameron's Twitch stream at CamBop17. A giant thank you to Nate Davis for coming on the show. And a very important guard of Guard the Bard at GuardCast on Twitter. You can also check out Nate's own Nate the Panda at Twitter, where you can take in all his hot takes. They're fantastic. I love it.
It's unhinged, and I'm sorry in advance.
Your Twitter made me laugh literally out loud.
It does, but sometimes I'm also going to talk about how old people shouldn't exist.
Nate, do you have anything to say to the folks before we wrap up? Any shout outs, any goodbyes?
I really hope that at least some of you go and listen to this album. It is one of my all-time favorite albums. This is one of my all-time favorite bands when I discovered them in 2018. They just have a lot of interesting stuff to say, and they do it in a very interesting way. And they're all very cute, handsome men. Go look at their pictures. They
look like Jesus.
Look like Jesus, you know?
So this is the part of the show at the very end
This is it.
where we get very close to the mic and we very tenderly say goodbye.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to this episode of Album ReBrews. This has been your podcast host. This is Zach. This is Sarah. This is Nate. This is 103.5 Kiss FM.